Hey, God bless you. I'm going to make this very short and sweet. It's about one Bible verse that God gave me today when I was reading. Really spoke to my heart, but I think it may minister to many people. And it's in Matthew 11, verse 25. I'm going to read out of the King James Version. It says, "At that time Jesus answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes." And then the Amplified, other versions would say infants, And the way it kind of explains it is talking about how God's hidden these things from the wise is the people who are proud, who think they have it all figured out. Religious people of that time thought they knew everything, And Jesus always talked about when he spoke in parables that he hid those things from the wise. And those were the wise men of that day. But to the children, to the simple, he revealed unto them. But if you read in the Amplified, it talks about how it's the people that are seeking God's will. Those are the infants. Those are the people that are seeking his will and his purpose. But it's interesting is because he's talking about two mindsets, the proud and the humble and the meek, which is like an infant. Because he goes on to say later on, he says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest for your souls." So he's talking about learning from his example, that he's meek and lowly, or gentle and humble in other translations. So, one thing that God's been pressing on my heart, and when I read this was, it says that he's revealed it unto infants. An infant is completely dependent upon their father or mother, their parents. And without them, they're not going to eat. They can't. They're completely dependent upon them for feeding, and they know it. And this reminds me of a verse that Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." Why? What is poor in spirit? Poor in spirit are the people who are desperate for God, who know they need him, who are humble enough to know that they need him. It's very easy to sometimes get caught up and think that we have it figured out, we know everything, and that we become sometimes independent. And it's happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to many people, where we spend time with the Lord and we feel so charged up that we feel like we got it figured out, we're good. And sometimes we think that we can go, these lengths of time without being in the Word, without spending time in his presence. And in reality is the humility of knowing that we have no hope outside of him, and realizing that we're desperate for him and we need him every minute of the day, every moment. And I think that's the point where God is got me at, is just have total dependency. And I'm sure many people watching this will say, well, I'm dependent on God. But in reality, sometimes we look at the decisions that we make, we aren't as dependent on him as we think we are. We'll pray. We might pray every day. We might, be reading the Bible and talking to God every single day, twice a day. But throughout the day, throughout your job, throughout, your normal everyday life, you might not be depending on God for the decisions, for the words that you speak, for the thoughts that you think. You sometimes have a moment of independence where you think, oh, I'm okay, I'm good, But it's having this mindset and this attitude that we need Jesus every moment. We need the Holy Spirit every moment of the day. And I think that when we get to that point, that's when God really can use us for his glory. And that's what I think it means to die to oneself. It's very easy to get caught up and think, I got it figured out. But it takes real humility to understand that we need him. God bless you.